What's going on, everybody? It's your man Tuck from BOREDinDE. Got my homeboy here with me. Me and this guy go way back, like 4 flats on the Cadillac. This guy is a comedian, writer, host. If you see his name on the ticket, you need to just go ahead and buy yours and show up. Ladies and gentlemen, my man Breakout.
Hey. What's up, man? How you feeling, man?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good, man.
You right, man. We go back, man, like PJs.
Yo, man. It's like we were just talking off camera about how Delaware used to be like the strip. And we're telling our kids, when we tell them, they be like, Market Street was the strip? Like, nah, yeah, Market Street was the strip. And I said, Delaware got a lot of firsts. Because I said, I remember Eric B. and Rakim first performed I Know You Got Soul live at the National Guard Armory.
Yep.
We used to have tons of parties at the Armory. We used to do Delaware. The biggest problem in Delaware was like what party you was going to, how you was going to get there, and did you have enough money for all the entry fees? Even though it was $5, but $5.84, that was a grip.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't get that summer job packing lunches down Price's Park.
Yeah, $5, man. You had to get it.
Shoot.
Well, people don't know. Real talk, back in them days, we had Eric B here. We had Run DMC at PS DuPont.
Mm-hmm.
We had Run DMC at Dickinson.
Yeah, I remember that.
We had the Fat Boys up here. The Fat Boys was up at what's that? Diamond State. Was that or was it in Claymont? It wasn't at the Van Club.
I think it might have been Claymont.
It was Claymont.
But it used to be so much stuff, I can't remember all that.
They pulled them down here, yeah.
And we didn't have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so there was no documentation of that because we had the big old VCR cameras. You had to carry, a big ass shotgun.
Posters. I wanted to keep those old school posters with they were like giant cardboard, and they had to,
like the ones they used to have back in the 70s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when James Brown was on the Chitlin circuit and stuff like that. It'd be like a monotone color and stuff. It just had all the information on it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Those
on telephone poles. Those are collectibles.
Yeah.
So hip hop used to run through Delaware like the Underground Railroad.
Well, yes, it did. It was one of the destinations.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I know that's how them cats made their money, though. They didn't really make money off of their cuts. They made off all their money doing shows.
And every show was always sold out. Always. And we going back to Godfather BOREDinDE days. Rest in peace, BOREDinDE.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we going back.
It was him, and then it was the lady. I can't remember her name. That's who got Rakim and them here. Mm-hmm. Associated with Den, and he was associated with Norby Walters.
Right.
These people from out of New York. But yeah, they used to make Delaware was a stop on that track right there.
Yeah, because I remember me, Sev, and all of them went to the Bronx when KRS-One and them first dropped to do a show opening up for them in the Bronx back in the day. Like, Delaware used to put in work, man. It's just sad that we're part of that, drug highway. So, when the New York boys, seeing that Delaware is cool, but it's a little slow, they this was their rest stop. And right now, it's a lot of kids that's in their, 20s and 30s that don't know their dad real name. They just know it's a Mike.
Yeah. Yep.
They don't know who he is.
Nope. They used to pop through here. This was a hideout, actually. Mm-hmm. This was like a hideout. You break from the pressure up top, come down here, maybe bring a little work down here with you and chill out with some broad down here and be on tuck for a long time.
Right.
He was on tuck down here.
Right, and you can go back home and just be like, yo, where you buck up at and stuff, because, dimes is 20s down here and stuff, some New York boys used to say.
Yep.
But enough with that though, man. I'm this show about you, but I just can't help but go down memory lane.
Oh yeah, man.
When we get to talking and stuff.
Go back to the block on you.
Yeah. So Breakout, what's going on with you, man?
Oh man, I'm just having fun with the game, just working hard, trying to work harder. Mm-hmm. That's all. You know what I mean? Putting in that work and just going to places the joke game takes me, man. I love it.
And now, when did you make the switch from? Because I know you from rhyming. When did you make the switch from rhyming to comedy, or you were always a comedian? You just
I was always a joker. You know what I mean? And in school, that's how I survived in school: dancing, breakdancing, rapping, busting jokes on each other and stuff like that. So, so that was always inside. But the rap, when we made the transition from rap, was I could tell you that everybody in the crew, basically started having kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I had already had a daughter but she was like big. She was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had like a little family. So when everybody kind of got to that stretch, we sort of, it was like we couldn't rap no more. Like we could rap, but it was like not priority.
Right.
So then for a little stretch there, it was working. And then like at the job, I always was joking and stuff like that. And people was like, "Yo, man, why don't you take that to the stage?" And I never took it seriously till I just took a trip up New York.
Okay.
And went to the Comic Strip Live, and got a chance to do about 5 minutes up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I did okay.
Okay.
But then I met Judy Gold, who's like sort of a female comedian legend.
Okay.
I hate to say she underground because she's been in the game a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But she told me, she's the one that told me about to set them up, knock them down. She said, "All right, when you get your time, and you need to set them up, knock them down, set them up, knock them down." She's like, "Think of bowling, you know."
Okay.
And I never forget her words of that. And then I came back home and I was like, "Oh man, that was a great experience." And then I kind of got the bug, the fever for it. So then, but I didn't go up there consistently.
Okay.
So I kind of had to seek it out locally. And what happened was Smokies started doing comedy.
Wow. Yeah, I remember the barbecue joint on Market
Smokies
Street.
downtown. So like Smokies took over. I guess it used to be the Greenery or something in the old days where it was a restaurant.
Right.
And then it turned into Smokies, and my man Greg had it, and John Barber used to come down, and John Barber was a major figure in Philly at one point because he had this place called the Lounge. It was in like Patti LaBelle had this building just off of South Street, and he used to do it. He used to do a show there, and like I didn't do no comedy, but I was privy to hang out.
Okay.
So he used to have like Jill Scott and the Roots and Music Soul Child before they was even anybody.
Okay.
And Ray would like host. He's a young bull too, but Ray had been in the game for a minute.
Okay.
And so he told me to come up there. So Ray would host at Smokies. I would come every time they was there. It was like maybe every other week, and I would go up there and do like 5 minutes or something, and he said, "Yo, why don't you come to Philly?" So I got to come to Philly and come to some of these events because John would have couches on the stage. He was one of the first joints that had couches on the stage.
Oh, okay.
And like Joe Scott didn't sing; she was singing her poetry. She would do poetry. She wasn't like singing. She would like sing in her poetry type of thing. It was like, yo, she bad. And but that was before she did all her stuff. And the Roots, it was two groups. It was the Roots, and then there was a group called the Goats, and they were kind of buddies on this music scene in Philly. There was a guy called G Love and Special Sauce, white boy.
Okay.
He was real good. He was like, he could play like 4 instruments, but he had like a band too. You know what I mean? This cat could play like the guitar, the accordion, harmonica. He could drum. He could play the drums. He was crazy. So they were all on this little scene. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
So I got to hang out with these folks, and then two was like, "Come to the Laugh House." So I started going to Laugh House like as much as I could, like all the time, and then that's what kind of got me boom the steps to getting in, you know,
right,
regularly in the game.
Yeah, 'cause I forgot Philly had a deep circuit, and I went to a couple shows that Teray was doing back in the 90s, like at different little bars and stuff like that. Like it was a couple bars in Germantown. He would have something on like a Sunday afternoon and stuff, and that dude's funny as hell, man.
Yeah. Teray's, he's a beast, man.
And it's crazy how, you know, all these spots, because I'm sitting there listening to you talk about how Jill and, you know, Music Soul Child and all them used to be at the one spot. I remember seeing them at Lily's 5 spot when, well, actually music wasn't, it was more the girls. It was like Flowetry, Jill Scott, Jazzy Fat Nasties, Jaguar Wright and all them. That was just like a nice little
the 5
chill
spot off of Market Street.
Yeah.
In the little crease.
In the corner.
Yeah.
So we talking about the same spot. Yeah.
Because you know what? When the Laugh House used to let out on them Thursday nights, because D. Lee ran the Thursday nights. That was the Negro night.
Right.
Thursday night. That was live, right? They used to blast it, and then everybody would go to the 5 spot after that and hang out in there. And that's where, you know, like AI and them would be in there, and Tim Thomas.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a couple people who would hang out in there.
We need to bring them spots back, which is on a side note, which I'm glad Gundy is doing his thing down here. I can't wait for that to open up because, we need that because the comedy and music, they go hand in hand.
Yes.
You can get a good show with music acts, comedy acts, and everything. It's all about entertaining people coming out having a good time and everything.
Yes, and it's good because it'll be a sort of a destination, and then that's a nice part of town.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be up to par, and I know Gunn gonna make it like really. He gonna make it really.
Oh yeah, because before and after entertainment represents whenever they do stuff where they hold it at another place, he always does it represent and everything. So be sure to keep if you haven't joined their Facebook page, join that. The Laugh House Delaware. We got to start supporting these people when they come out. We can't, keep letting them go somewhere else, become big, and then be like, oh, yeah, I should go see him all the time. You go to my church. It don't matter then. They need you now on the come up.
Yeah, definitely. And then, it's all about, that's a part of the inclusion experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need a black entrepreneur doing something and getting something established here because it's very difficult.
Right.
I've done my own shows here for years and been a part of other stuff. I've been privy to be a part of other stuff.
Right.
But I've done my own show for years. And I have to say, as a business person, is hot, cold. But I mean, that's the nature of business anyway.
Right.
But the highs are high, the lows are lows, so it's a difficult game. And people do often forget, though, that our area right here is really not populated. It's not a super populated area. I mean, Wilmington really holding probably like 100,000 residents, honestly, on the books.
Right.
And then within the city limits, you're talking about maybe 80,000 people right within the city limits. So it's really not that populated town. It's a decent sized town because it's comparable to places like Albany and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's just not dense. So, and plus we sit in the crossroads, man.
Yeah.
We like a lot of Delaware people, man. We got so many choices. First of all, it's a lot of free shit.
Right. A lot of free shit.
It's a lot of free shit to go to, and you're 25, 30 minutes from Philly. You an hour or so from AC. You an hour from B-More, 2 hours New York, 2 hours DC. So we sit right here in the middle of that little energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so a lot of times folks here, especially grown folks, they got different choices. They can just say, hey, you know what, man? I mean, I blow the scene here, and I'm going to just go over AC's big comedy show over there. It's a big show in Philadelphia, stuff like that. So that's what we compete with that, at least with our own residents, because quite honestly, a lot of them folks not coming here.
Right.
Now, it just depends on who's here. Because this time last year, we did 2 shows within about 2 months with my man Cleon.
Okay.
And Cleon, I knew Cleon when he started comedy. Like, I had Cleon here. He always tells a story. I had him here probably 12 years ago, 10 years ago. And he started maybe about 12 years ago in the game. So Cleon he's one of these guys who got the internet fame, but he was already funny.
Okay.
If you ever check him out, Cleon the Comedian, his Instagram is on fire.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of his things on Instagram and stuff. Dude's a funny cat, man.
Yeah, he's a funny cat. So I bought him here last year. Me and my man Gabriel Holland Peak. I always say, shout out to Gabe. I always say Gabe whole name because he's a cool ass young boy. You know what I mean? But he got an old spirit. But I always say his whole name, Gabriel Holland Peak.
he one of those cats. I know he wish like, man, how come I can't be like a prince? Or
I told him. I said, you need Esquire on the end of that motherfucking name, bro. But he had this spot over here across town called the Venue.
Okay.
And we bought Cleon there twice, sold out twice. Each time we bought him, 2 sold out shows each time, so 4 shows all together.
Okay.
So that was incredible because of the power of this medium that we got now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but here was what the crazy observation I made. The first time we bought him here, all the people that came to both of them shows were sold out. They weren't even from here. I say a good...
They weren't?
10%, 20% of the people were actually from Wilmington, Delaware, or the area. Everybody else was from somewhere else.
But they came because of what's on the ticket.
They came because of him.
Oh, wow.
Blew my mind. I said, yo, nigga, you about to get it. because they get you gonna get this money, bro, because they coming out, and we hustled together and made some money on those shows, and but it was a line up the block
for people waiting to get in.
So look, the first show was a line, boom, but it got packed. It was the first show, so everybody got inside. Now, before the second show ended, the line was outside and it went all the way up the block. And I looked at them folk. I walked up because I was doing a little video, and boom, and walked and talked with a couple people. And I was like, yo, these niggas not even from here. These cats is coming from all over New Jersey and somewhere in, Westchester and all kinds of people because of the reach. So those folk were like, sometimes if you live, Baltimore's not far, right? But if you live in Westchester or like Coatesville or something, right? Your frequency of just heading out there is it's limited.
Right.
And those are sort of small towns. So then you see a cat like that, that's rather close to you, Delaware. Wilmington is kind of close, it's straight down 48 or whatever it is, and 40 minutes or something, you hear. And so I'm like, that's where these people come and they go, oh, he's close, he's like here. So they came, man, and they came, brother. The second show, I don't think none of them was from Delaware. None of the people at that show.
Wow. Now, how does that make you feel when you do something? As long as it's a packed house, I know you don't care.
Right.
But not seeing the support from your backyard.
I used to bitch about it, quite frankly. But then, it's my hometown, and I understand my town. You know what I mean? My town has a certain personality about it when it comes to things like that. We feel sometimes a certain way, like, I don't want to see him if he's here. I want to see him if he's in Philly. Because then I'm doing something. If I do it here, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. Now, what we do like here is we love a party. If somebody having a big party, we there, it's packed.
Okay. You
know what I'm saying? But sometimes I question when we got a comedy audience. We got a comedy audience if it's somebody that everybody knows. Now, the second time we bought them, it was more Delaware people at that show.
Okay.
So that was probably roughly about 6 weeks or so, maybe a little under 2 months when we bought him right back. And so those shows were more Delaware folk.
Okay.
Now, that's because they probably heard Bam, and they heard that he was coming back. So then it was more of a thing. Like, see, now sometimes our personality is, oh man, you missed it.
Right.
We don't like to miss shit neither.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah. So you missed it, man. Cleon was here, blah, blah, blah. And people took pictures with him and all this kind of stuff. We were out front. We did like a little red carpet out front, and everybody, the first time, everybody took pictures and everything. So then we brought him back. A lot more Delaware people came to that show and checked it out. You know what I mean? And so it was cool.
Right.
But that's our personality. We always kind of wave our hands and stuff like, man, I know Break, man. I know this guy. I know Lindsay. And, I'm cool. I'll see him when I see him in ShopRite, man.
Right.
I ain't giving that nigga $25, man.
That's how we do be like that, though. Like, I ain't going to give you $25, but I'll spend that plus more to go see you in Baltimore.
Right.
When I can just see you here and get right back home.
$45 and you go down there, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but we got this thing like I'm doing something. I'm out of town. I'm getting out of my town. That's what it is, you know.
And a lot of people be looking at it like, well, I can go to Baltimore, I can get some, I can go down there and get something to eat. Like, Delaware ain't a foodie state.
Tons of food here.
Right. Or, we can go we can hit the pier, this and that. Well, all they end up doing is going to the show and coming home.
9 times out of 10.
They go right to the show and come right home.
That's right, because I can't really eat before the show. I can eat a little while before the show. I definitely can barely eat after the show. Because, Linz, I get instant-itis. I'm just telling you right now. Give me about 15 minutes, brother. I can't drive. Babe, you want to drive, babe?
Yo, because them lines in the road do be hypnotizing you when you're tired. You be like,
oh, man, I hate that.
They the worst.
Yeah, they are. Them lights, and then the oncoming lights mess with me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just pull into the Maryland house or something, take a nap. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's the shots, too.
But do you think they take people for granted because if they're from Delaware or you're from Delaware, they either will like lower your worth or lower your skill set and assume that it's not as good as Joe Blow that I don't know from Jersey or Joe Blow that I don't know.
You're exactly right, good brother. That's I'm a wager to say that's
pretty much it.
That's it. That's it a lot of times.
Now, one show I got to ask you about because I was watching somebody else's podcast and they met and you were talking about it. I need to know about your time at the Apollo, where you was like, the Sandman ain't gonna get me.
Oh, dog. Yeah, listen. You know, the host was Drew Frazier.
Okay.
So Drew Frazier told me that. He said, listen, Break. He said, listen, they don't like nobody but gospel singers and little kids. He said, so just go up there, do your thing. You got 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes, brother. 2 minutes, I rocked it. That's when I was first in the game. 2 minutes, I was like, oh, shit. Right? Then the second 2 minutes, I'm doing my same set that was killing anywhere else. It's just like I saw this whole row of young boys, right? Because, you know, they coming in buses. That's like a destination.
Right.
So I seen this whole row of young boys. So I was like, I got a nice laugh. And I was like, so, like, let me tell you, man, my son, they was like, boo! They was like, boo! Boo! They just wanted to boo somebody, man. So, look, the music started up. Right? And I look, because I know that's Sandman's music, right? So I look, I seen Sandman doing this thing. I bounced. I didn't let him, like, it seemed like everybody staring at Sandman, like, get a kick out of him. He might come out, kick you square in your pants. Boom! Everybody laugh, or he take the broom and hit you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, he ain't doing that to me. I went right out. I actually went out the wrong side. I was supposed to go the other way, but I went out the wrong side. So I had to go back around all the way through the workings and come back around to where I was supposed to be. But I'm like, Sandman ain't gonna kick me in my ass.
I know that's right.
Yo, I was in tears when I heard that. Because I said, I could see Break being like, nah, nigga, you ain't gonna get me. I'm out. I'm out. And the Sandman probably trying to hurry up, get close to you, like, nah, I'm out. You ain't gonna catch me.
I watched him do his thing, and it clicked in. Because I was entertained too. Sandman, oh, I'm here. I'm like in the follows. Sandman doing this shit. He did a little shuffle, little thing like this. I said, oh, no, hold up. Let me get the fuck up out of here. Yeah, he was going to get me. I'm not living that down. You know, I say that kind of stuff because I think about my processes when you watching Jerry and them. And you know, or you watching Maury. Right. Don't you ever think about how this nigga gonna go back home, man?
Right.
Don't you ever think that all this foolish, you gotta go back to the barbershop, dog. You gotta go back to the crib. So, you know, I'm like, nah, I ain't taking that one.
Nah, you ain't gonna catch me out there. But yo, how do you handle hecklers though?
Heckler, you know, let me tell you something, man. I've been actually fortunate over these years that I haven't had too many hecklers. I mean, you always get the drunk dude. I had one dude kind of mess us short because he just wouldn't let it go. And he was going, you know, every time I said something, he had something to say. And you know, that's the only one time that kind of messed me up. Because what happens is with hecklers is you got to chop them. You got to chop them to pieces quickly. And then you got to move on. You can't really go back and forth with them. Because then it'll devour your show. It'll take the attention away. And then the fans, the audience get kind of like bored with it.
Right.
Because at some point, if you keep going, it's going to get a little edgy. Because you start stepping up because you got the mic. So you start stepping up your attack. And then your attack can get a little greasy then. You know what I mean? Because you could feel the frustration because you're like, yo, man, shut the fuck up.
Right.
You know, so I learned a good trick from a couple veterans in the game where they tell the crowd, tell the dude, shut the fuck up. They'll like tell the audience, all right, everybody, all at once, tell this dude, shut the fuck up. And the crowd will say, shut the fuck up.
And he ain't got no choice but to back down.
That's right. He ain't got no choice.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I've always tried to, but I'm really good at the kiss and the smack. So the kiss and the smack is you compliment and then you, that's a nice sweater, my man. I think you should give it back to your grandpa. I'm just saying, it looks good on you right now. You know, I could say something that and undress you real quick, and you're like, and a lot of times all they can do is go like this. Oh man, all right, man, go to fuck it, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, you wonder, did you buy those front row seats just to get clowned?
Yeah. Well, we always tell people too, like, listen, you sit in the front row, you part of the show. Now, that doesn't mean anybody, but I'm just saying, don't wear no purple suit in the front of the show. You know what I'm saying? Don't wear nothing crazy unless you just want to be, you know, like, babe, I'm wearing these green glasses tonight. They gonna love it, right? Yeah, they gonna get you too, man. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you up front, you part of the show. You know?
Yeah. Now your style, like some people, you got like the greats like Rodney Dangerfield, who was self depreciation. Then you got the greats like Richard Pryor, who pretty much brought the world into the show. Like he talked about worldly things and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got like Kevin Hart is more like self depreciation or sharing his story about his family. Then you got some people that just like Chris Rock that just go strictly political and stuff like that. Where do you fall in the cracks?
That's a good question, man. I don't really know. Seriously, over all these years, I'm not quite sure because I like to talk about whatever I'm feeling like talking about. You know what I mean? So like sometimes I'm in like kind of a teachy kind of mode, like not teaching because I'm talking to adults, but I mean like some knowledge I want to give or experience. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about that, and it comes humorous, and sometimes I'm just talking shit about something, or I'm knock myself around. You know what I mean? So it kind of flows how it flows, and it depends. I won't say it depends on the audience, but it does. You do research. You always gotta study your audience, and that gets you where you need to be. You know what I mean? But sometimes you come up there already with a plan. But in comedy, I'm gonna say that you have to really be light on your feet.
Okay.
Because what you want to talk about might not be pertinent to what your audience is. And now some people would say, well, nah, man, I talk about the fuck I want, right? But sometimes it's you want to have fun. Right. So like if you in I don't want to say the words Trump land. Let's just say some place like, I don't know, Mechanicsburg or something. You up in somewhere, right? And your crowd is mostly one set of, a little rural crowd. The crowd is kind of like, like mostly white crowd or something like that, and you up in the sticks, all right? So some of the information that you might be used to doing, say in a real cool ass urban setting, and I'm not even talking about black setting, I'm talking about like a Philadelphia nightclub or something, or New York City club, right? You could speak on the edge, you could talk about some hot topics. Right. And stuff that's like right in the middle right now, and bust it up, and you just get a rise, and you can get that off. But then in some other locations, you may want to ride with some stuff you've already established, and you might want to ride on that. Okay. The area you in, and like I was down in like Milford, Delaware. Okay. Or Milton. I was at the Milton Theater down there. And like you got like Slaughter Beach and all this kind of shit down there. So I was making jokes about that and the beach, and just having fun with the crowd in that aspect. And then you deliver some material that you may already have, and then you could bust it up. But I would say that it's my style is kind of it's like whatever. Like now, I used to be real ardent. I used to be real tight about, all right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna talk about that. And then I learned over the years that you just gotta like, look, man, it's already there. Just whatever, how you feel, just flow. Right. Just fucking flow with it. You know what I mean? But you should have material. Now I seen some beautiful work. Motherfuckers can just go, this cat can go on the stage, brother, and just rock out. It don't even sound like, now some of it might be something they wrote or they written down, but the performance is like they just fucking talking, right? And they just, I'm like, wow, this shit is like magic, because everything they saying is funny or on point, and it's kind of cool.
Now about speaking about written, a couple comics have came at like Kevin Hart for using like writers and stuff like that, when I didn't see it being a problem, because the greats like Richard Pryor, Red Fox, and all them, they all had writers. Man, see, listen, some of that shit is corny on this aspect. Not having a writer is corny, but people putting a spotlight on it. And here's why, man. Damn near, the genius is there. It's in you, right? But let me tell you something, brother. You doing like Kev on tour. He's been going on tour the past 10 years. Right. So, you can only do that material so long. And they say, listen, we're going to do another tour. We're going to do another special. So you got to come up with a whole nother fucking 90 minutes or hour, whatever it is. To top your last shit.
All right? And 9 times out of 10, first of all, you roll with a other bunch of funny people. And you would, one of the top things in, let's just say, management is let your team win for the cause, for the business.
Okay.
So if you got some funny ass cats with you, and this man here says, yo, man, I was thinking, man, this right here is funny as hell, bro. We could do this, boom, boom, boom. I was thinking, let's do it.
Right.
Let me run through it. Let's do it. All right, because first of all, Chris Rock got like Ace Awards. He got freaking like 3 Emmys and Grammys. He got 3 Emmys for them HBO performances.
Right.
Which was like before Dave shit set off. You had Bigger and Blacker and all of these Chris Rock's famous sets, right? And them sets were written by him, his brother,
Tony Rock, right?
Yeah, Tony Rock, Wanda Sykes, Louis C.K., and Pootie Tang. That's his boy.
Yeah. Lawrence or something, Crowder or something like that.
Pootie Tang, right? And they were like his writers. Like they would sit down at a table, man. Listen, man, we getting this money, brother, and you need to have these capital performances. You talking about HBO. So that ain't nothing but your team getting together. Now, I mean, sure, the ego may say, matter of fact, no comic could do that for the most part to say, oh, man, I wrote that whole thing myself. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not, it's not that it's not true, but it's like not the essence of comedy because you got these people around you and they funny, brilliant ass people too. And they're feeding the monster, which you like, yo, you know, what you got, man? What you going to do this next thing? And they're like, I got this. That shit's funny. You try it out all over the country. And then they might throw something in there like, this shit is funny. Bam. And you throw that in there. And then that makes that whole hour, that 90 minutes. That's 90 minutes on stage talking.
Right. 90 minutes with thousands of people looking at you.
And ultimately millions.
Millions. Yeah.
So, you know, you talking some real stuff. Richard Pryor. You bought Richard Pryor. Who was Richard Pryor, one of his number one writers?
Paul Mooney, right?
Paul Mooney, legend. Same thing with the Fat Doctor. Fat Doctor was one of Richard Pryor's writers. Fat Doctor was a famous underground comedian, basically underground from Washington, D.C. Fat Doctor, legend. Matter of fact, Fat Doctor is probably like 71 now. When I first started in the game, I got to meet Fat Doctor was a regular at the Laugh House. So like when I was a young boy in the game, I didn't even have to be on the ticket. I got to go to the Laugh House, just hang out.
Just to see him.
Just to see different, you know, major comics. I would go to, here's the funny thing about Delaware, about Wilmington, Delaware. I would go to the Opera House. I mean, not the Opera House, but across from Chelsea. That's the Opera House, right?
The Baby Grand.
The Grand, yeah. So I would go to the Grand Opera House, man, and catch, I call it David Allen Greer, because I knew the boy, my man that works there, he'd go. So I get in there, I got to see David Allen Greer, I got to see D.L. Hughley, I got to see, who else was that? I got to see Bernie Mac. Let me tell you something about Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac came here every year for about damn near 20 years, right? It was almost hardly ever any black people there. Truth.
Yeah, like that I didn't know.
D.L. Hughley was there. It was hardly any black folk there. Wanda Sykes. It was not about, you talk about, that's just how the personality here is. It was like, unless they know Lindsay was bringing them, you know, like we saying like Gundy. If folks say, oh, Gundy brought, I don't know.
'Cause I know when he brought Uncle Tommy, he packed out the movie theater.
That was a movie theater.
Yeah.
So people follow Gun. They like, oh, Gun, I know him. So I'm going to go support. And plus you're talking Nephew Tommy too. Right. It's easy sale. But my folk, if they see it and they see it on the bill, for some weird reason, I ain't going. Or how much is it? You know what I mean? It's kind of strange because I went to a couple. Let me tell you something. When Kanye first came out, Kanye was at Kahunaville.
Right. I remember that when they had the volcano and everything.
Dropped College Dropout with All Falls Down on there and Jesus Walks and all his first album. Right? He came down there and you know who was on the keyboard? John Legend, because John Legend did All Falls Down. He wrote that hook. So it's Selena Johnson, I think, that sings it on the record.
Right.
But when he came here, it was John Legend. John Legend was like nobody at that point, as far as the general public knew. and he's playing it. And so, but no, like I'm talking lens, like you might have had a 10% of black folk there because it was promoted through Q102. So it was all like white folks and like the Hispanic kids was down there, and it was packed. And like, oh, it was me, my man Cameron Dorsey, and Walter Walker. We were there. We had our own little stretch of the bar. We had our own little corner. We got there. It was chicks all around and everything, and watched that show. So that's like kind of the personality of my town, man. We just got it. That's just a kind of a thing we got. But that writer thing, man, I didn't even like when they did that with Drake. Remember that big controversy and something like, Drake had co-write. And I'm like, this shit is stupid. Because this dude is a hit maker. He's hit after hit after hit, putting them out. So at some point, somebody got a nice verse. Let's use that, man. Okay. Especially when they come to you and what you gonna reject it?
Because your ego.
Because your ego. What kind of bullshit is that? The smartest man you know is like, listen, somebody coming at you with a great idea, a great thing to add to the artistry. You're supposed to weave it in there, right? Like, well, let me hear it, man. And cat spit this shit. And you like, oh, that's kind of dope, bro. What you want to do with it? And I was thinking, man, like, you could run this on that cut. And you like, oh, shit.
Yeah, because a lot of people sleep on the person still got to have a great delivery. Because we done been all in the workplace, outside, at the bar, or whatever, and heard somebody butcher a joke. Where you know the joke was funny as fuck, but their delivery was so trash. It's like...
And no timing on it.
Right.
And you like, what? Oh, all right, I got you. You know what I mean?
So you just pretty much like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you like, you can fuck that whole joke up, man.
Right.
But yeah, so you still got delivery. He's the performer. You know, and I always thought that was cheesy, man, because you could write. Listen, you know how many cats got writers? First of all, you think, like the average person thinks, I don't know about today, but maybe the average person thinks that Jimmy Fallon or whoever, or they get up and do that monologue and they just doing jokes they wrote. No, it's a team of 10. Yeah. It's at least 10 writers. Them writers got a job every day. That's a daily show. And the rule is that whatever the topic is, they got to write like 100 jokes. Each man is responsible for like 10. And by the end of the day, by the time the show gets here, we compress them to like 10 jokes that Jimmy Fallon is going to perform. So it's only about 10% that are good. And that's what everybody that writes everything, you write jokes. I got a notebook full of shit. And you write that shit down. And here's the beautiful thing about comedy. You can write that shit down. It's incomplete. And it's no performance in it yet. It's maybe it's corny. You might have to twist it or like, it's kind of like ABC. And then what happens is I've had stuff that I was fucking with that was a little bit, I tried it and it was didn't work really well. It was a little cheesy at the time. Needed some work, and it could have been 5 years ago. And then that joke can come back, and you look in your book, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that shit fit. Or it winds up being a piece of something else over the years. Then you wind up collectively having like this whole bit you could do on something.
Right.
Because, you know, that's just how the shit works. You know what I mean? And so that's the same thing with the joke writers, man. They writing shit, and about 10% of it is the funniest shit. Them dudes, when they do SNL, do the news, that's the best shit of SNL.
Right.
That's freaking like 50 jokes, 100 jokes in the SNL. Now, for them to do Colin Jost and Michael Che, write that. Their lines, a lot of times, the jokes they come, because they're like top writers on that show.
Right.
The reports they're doing, they wrote that joke. You know what I mean? For that. But then they got other people, man. It's all like teamwork, brother.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it because everybody getting paid in the end. And I just think some comedians, are just bitter because sometimes they see somebody's success and be like, that should have been me. But as long as you out here working and eating and doing something you love, I say be grateful. Because there's some people...
Gratitude is the best shit out here.
Yeah, because some of the funniest people's in the cemetery, you know?
Yes.
That shit died with them.
Yes, it is.
You know?
And let me tell you something, brother. You know, a good guy, a cat in the top of his game right now told me, he was like, yo, Brick, because I stressed out one time. I'm like, man, I'm fucking stuck, man. I can't get, like, I'm trying to be. And, you know, different variables go into that, to your grind. And you know what he told me? He said, your time is your time. Their time is their time. Your time is your time. You just keep rocking and keep grinding. And I was like, stuff like that calm the spirit. Just like gratitude. Gratitude, calm the spirit, man. You know, you have to learn that. Only grown men and experience teaches you that.
Because when we was boys, we didn't understand that.
No. We're all riled. Plus, we want to win. We competitive. Or we always like, why ain't that me? Or something like that. But then at the end of the day, it's like, yo, listen, I get to, you know, it's a girl who's about to blow. It's two girls that's about to blow. One is a girl, Chanel Ali. Cute little girl, Philly, funny as shit, smart as a motherfucker, right? And she has a good joke that I always love when she says it. She says, people come up to me and be like, hey, you still doing that comedy thing? Which every comic experiences that. Because it's sort of,
kind of like brushing you aside, like, I can't believe you're still doing comedy.
Yeah. So she's like, what? I make money with my mind. That's what she always says, right? And I'm like, yo, she always told, I said, yo, that's fucking deep. Motherfuckers need to understand what you saying. You know what I'm saying? You getting on stage talking and you make bread, people want to see you. You get booked from that. You know what I'm saying? Then it's another girl, keep your eyes out for, named Stiletto. Stiletto's crushing it. She's about to blow. I know Stiletto for at least 10, 11 years. And she really on fire right now. So keep your eyes. She's hilarious. And it's a girl. The girls are on fire right now.
Okay.
Yes. At one point, it was one female comic per, like, say, 25 male comics. It was one, like, funny-ass girl. Now that shit shrank because the girls got the girl talk. And that connects because everything's got to be sort of relatable, you know what I mean, to talk to your audience. So these two girls, just keep your eyes out for them. You know what I mean? They're on different spectrums too, sort of, because Stiletto in the mold of your she's on her way on that, like, to me, in that Cheryl Underwood fire, that's some more fire kind of female comic coming up.
Right.
And then Chanel Ali's on the other end. She's like that general audience, smart. She's really killing it. I mean, she's in the, like, the 30s, her age. So she's crushing these college campuses and places in these comedy clubs. So keep an eye on her. They're two different, because Stiletto more of a grown woman.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the other girl, she's a little bit of a young girl. But they great. So keep your eyes out. Chanel Ali and Stiletto, keep your eyes out for them. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, as far as doing events down here and everything, is that something that you plan to expand on in the coming time, in the coming years and stuff like that?
I got something. There's stuff I've been working on, and I've been working on with some other people that's going to keep the comedy energy here. Just like Gun's going to have his place over here. And I'll probably be working with Gun too. Okay. But there's other things within the state of Delaware that's going to be this up and down. That's going to be popping hopefully on a always basis. You know what I mean?
But we need that.
So I'm going to keep it because I believe, even going back, like me and you was rapping about the days when we all used to rap and DJ and beatbox and all that kind of stuff, right? And so my hometown here, my state here, but I'm going to particularly talk about my area, Wilmington, Newcastle, and all of that, right? It was a lot of talented people here.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing was we was in, Delaware. So the respect of the game, you had to basically leave to come up.
Right.
We had a few people leave, come up, like Phyllis Stickney and people like that. Yeah. But you had to really leave out of here. You could not stay here because the entertainment energy was not here. There was no scene. The scene only popped off over these past years here, these past 10 years here. And you got a nice little music scene going on. You got a nice little comedy scene. Like when I leave here, I'm going over Jackson Inn. Okay. Jackson, that old place Jackson Inn? Yeah. Yeah, they do a nice little mic on Thursday nights, every Thursday night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of comics hang out there, and I always work out material over there, do something or prepare for I got a couple shows this weekend.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know that. See, that's one thing I always when I came up with the BOREDinDE, it's because I want to start highlighting and talking about stuff, because usually when you talk about Delaware, first thing out their mouth is born there. But there's so much stuff going on. Like when we had Nitty here earlier this week, he was dropping stuff on me. Like he talked about this spot called Cool J's with the water ice. He's like, yeah, they sell water ice by the day, but then they do shows after 9 o'clock, and all the water ice, they'll spike it and name it after Cool J songs. And I'm like, yo, that's in my backyard. I never knew. Never knew. Because, I always try to share with people, just don't use Facebook to brag about your stuff. Like, I tell people, I say, yo, I live on Twitter, because I see so much stuff coming across Twitter, and they not as it's still kind of chronological as far as your feed. Where Facebook is like, I think you'll like this, but I'm gonna hold this on the side, because we all been victims of Facebook sending us a thing about a party that happened a week ago, and I was like, I just now saw it.
Yep.
We all been victims of that. So what I want to share with you is that whenever you have something going on, bruh, send it to me, and I'll put it right on the site. And when I do my little drops for upcoming episodes, I would love to be able to start sharing this stuff, because it's been a lot of things that I missed. And, kind of like you hear about, like how you talked about the shows, and it's like, yo, I didn't know, because I may not rely on Facebook for my thing. It's got to be word of mouth, and we need people to start talking about, like, if you don't want to go and you see, like, if you see somebody post something, it takes nothing for you just to go ahead and retweet it or repost it, just to try to get the word out there.
Yeah.
Because the more we can bring attention to what we got going on down here, the more activities will be. And to quote Nitty, if you're looking to shake your ass to 4 or 5 in the morning, Delaware is not it. But if you're looking for anything else as far as some sort of culture, some sort of music, some food, we got that. But if you're looking to shake your ass to like 4 or 5 in the morning, you might well go in D.C., you might go to New York. And the funny thing he brought up is like, people always say Philly, but they close at 2 o'clock.
Yes, they do. Philly's done it too.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, there's spots you could go to, but you need to get your ass home.
Yeah. Because if you go to those spots, you might end up on the news.
Yes. You know what I mean? And I hope you ain't chasing no tail that time of night. You should have it settled in and locked in.
After your third drink, you should know who you was going to be with and what you was going to do.
Yeah, that's my line 3, brother. I always say after 3, you ain't going to remember. You're not going to remember what happened.
So you better go ahead and secure that right now.
Yeah. Because, after 3 drinks and a certain time, she might not be what you thought she was.
Yo, because them lights come on, you be like, oh, what the fuck?
I've done that a couple times.
I've been there too.
And then I said, fuck it.
Yeah, you just pull your collar up and like, all right, it's whatever.
It's already dark out. Ain't nobody gonna see me with you.
Let's just handle this.
Yeah. And sometimes you make a great friend and she turn you on to her friends and, it might work out,
Yeah. And I just keep seeing her at night.
At night. And she'd be like,
you want to go to the carnival?
I'm allergic to peanuts.
Cotton candy scares me.
Yo, like how do you handle, like, let's say you got a show and you're about to hit the stage, but before you hit the stage, you heard something or something happened, like, yo, I was on my way to the club and this motherfucker fell into a manhole or something. Do you find yourself sometimes incorporating shit, like you on your way to the show and you see something funny, you be like, yo, this chick was having a road rage, she gave somebody the finger and the bitch ran off the road. I
mean, listen, if it's good enough or ridiculous enough, that's what it has to be. It really has to be an element of ridiculous. I mean, you could spike it a little bit when you tell it, but it's got to be something that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? The best thing sometimes is shit that just happens immediately at that time. That's just gold when you're a comedian, man. That shit give you like an extra. Listen, I did a show at Bethel, right? Because I mix it up. Wherever they'll have me, I go. Okay. And I did a show at Bethel, and it was great. In the church, down inside the church, it was packed. And I'm doing my thing, man. Folks having a good time. And this little girl, she just decided to walk right across me in front of the stage, boom. And just because we were on the floor. she just walked right across, go get herself a little soda or something like that, right? And she just casually, like I wasn't even on stage, nothing. She just walked right in front of me, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you." And they fell the hell out. And I just lived on that. I just like repeated her actions and how she was just nonchalant, like, I don't give a fuck about this show. And then she came right back. She didn't even go around, like, you know, once I put a spotlight on her. Little mama didn't even go around like, oh, I better go this way now. Nope, she sashayed right back across with her little Pepsi. I was I lived on that for about 5 minutes. Just busting on that, man, but that element that just happened. So that's actually the best shit that happened. Like, I know my boy was on stage, and it sounded like the staff in the kitchen or whatever was arguing about something. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. Somebody stole some Scrapple or something back there. He just started going off. And he went off about them snapping in the kitchen, and then the waiter came out, boom. So he came out oblivious to what was going on stage. He was like, yo, man, you all right, man? You all right? You still got your job? He was... that shit took about 10 minutes. I said, when he got on stage, I said, dog, that just feels just set up. You didn't even have to do no other work, really. You know what I mean? So sometimes events like that happen, you know. Sometimes shit like that happens, right? I remember I was at the Laugh House and Bow Wow was on South Street. And it just happened, like, out front of almost like right in front of the Laugh House. I was by the hat store. You know, hats in the Belfry, that shit? Yeah. And first of all, I did not know Bow Wow was that little. He was a little teeny cat. And then Bow Wow, mom, bad as shit.
Yeah.
I talked about that on stage for like 5 minutes. I was like, y'all seen Bow Weezy, little Bow Weezy? He looked like he in the 3rd grade. And he was laughing about that. I said, Bow Wow, mom, truth. You know what I'm saying?
She can get the head, neck, and nuts.
Truth. I was like, damn, I started to crack on her shit, but, you know, I only had on like a sweatsuit, so I don't think I was, you know, on point.
You were being judged.
Yeah, I was, you know, but yeah, something, you're right, it's some event like that, it's funny enough or ridiculous enough, you can take it right up there, you know what I mean, because all people want to hear is the truth, they want to hear what's happening in real life. I mean, like, I ain't like when all the, really, I'm going to tell you something, the goal with the Dave Chappelle, quote-unquote, controversy, that was, to me, that's at some point, it gets so much ink that I start believing it's a part of the machine. Because, you know, good news, bad news is all good news.
Right.
So if they talking about you, they talking about you. I'm going to tell you an example. Jay and Beyonce have managed to be in top 5 trending consistently for like so many, like 108 weeks. Shit like that. Good or bad. They're still in top 10 trending of people looking up or tweeting or doing
Googling or some shit like that.
So, and that just generates, that's monetary, man, shit like that. That just generates and generates and generates. So when they're talking about Dave with that brilliant set that he did.
About the 5 transgender people in the car or something like that?
Oh, well, the whole
skit,
the whole thing was dope, right? The whole show was dope. And first of all, you watching the master do his work. But on top of that, it touched so many people per se because he's peaked up again,
right?
And it touched so many people that that shit was just fire. That just was making it more. So people were talking about it, and actually, quite frankly, it opened up a couple cans, and people talked about some shit and really got some shit out on the table and some understanding on a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he really, I mean, he just got the Mark Twain Award, which is, you know, that's the top of the pile as a comedian. And because people don't know, so like history of Mark Twain, people go, Mark Twain wrote Huckleberry Finn and all that shit. But see, people don't know that Mark Twain went around the world on some oratory shit. He was famous. See, a lot of folk don't know that dude just, you know, wrote books and Tom Sawyer and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And had these quotes and things. You know, Samuel Clemens, we know is his real name.
Yeah.
But his writing name was Mark Twain. And Mark, he went all around the world, brother. And I mean, if you go back, it's a famous picture. I gotta find it where he's sitting with Frederick Douglass. They're sitting side by side, and there's a whole mass of people behind them. And they're sitting. It's an old picture. They're both like this. And so, you know, So that Mark Twain Award is something serious. You know what I mean? So that's a great accomplishment, and that's the recognition. Damn, you see that? I got stuck there. They're like, Brian don't break stutter. It's crazy. He was doing all right for a minute. Them classes was working.
He getting sleepy.
Them Karl Malone classes was working.
Karl Malone classes.
Remember Karl Malone?
That went over a lot of people's heads. They're like, Karl Malone, let me Google that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the recognition that he got for that shit is really major. And I'm telling you, you're going to see a different shift. You're going to see a little seismic shift in the comedy now, because it's sort of like, all right, well, I could say, I'm going to do this now. You got to be cautious now. Because some people, you not Dave. All right? So you got to be measured in some of the shit you touch on. You talking about a master, and people trust him. So he's able to get in stuff. You know who had it like that? Louis C.K. And like Louis C.K. was the master of talking about some shit, and you like, yo, because there's a couple things in the comedy game you do not talk about. You do not joke about. You don't joke about rape. You don't joke about like child shit, like some, touchy ass child molestation type shit.
Right.
Stuff like that is like not funny. And it's very difficult to, somebody like amongst the comedians, you may have a funny joke on that or some kind of angle, right? But I would be like, I wouldn't say that on stage though, brother, because your levels is not there. Now, dudes like them, their levels is there, and people hear them a different way. They're like, oh yeah, you know what? You're right when you look at it that way,
right?
Because they trust them, But the average joker, you watch your ass, you might lose some credits and some bookings on some bullshit real quick.
Yeah, because I be hearing the chatter from some comedians and stuff that I follow online and everything, talking about the woke culture is gonna fuck the game up. And that's some people are even saying the woke culture is just fucking a lot of things up, because everybody overnight got so sensitive. Like you even got Eddie Murphy kind of like backpedaling before he dropped Dolomite, talking about, if I knew now what I knew back then, I would have never did Raw, which was fucking epic.
Well, Raw was epic. That was, damn near 40 years ago, right? And I think he just said that not for PC purposes, but for just reflection. When you talking about the woke culture, like those people who are part of that bullshit now, they wouldn't even understand what he was talking about back then.
Right.
Shit was funny back then. When he doing the pull over and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
The gay people laughed at that back then. They was cracking up. They was like, shut the fuck up, Eddie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody knew that was funny. That's just some shit now where everybody has they dial the frequency so everybody get a little touchy with. Well, don't say that. Now, here's the fucked up part about that. You still call everybody a bunch of niggas and stuff like that, right?
Right.
We still run into that, And nobody's like, we're like, watch your ass.
Yeah.
But other folk are like, there's just bad people. But then other stuff pops off, and they're like, that's not cool. Now, what happened is the scale moved up a little bit. So people could say offensive stuff, and then people were sort of desensitized to it. It was like, oh, that's funny, yeah. Because me personally, I hated Howard Stern. I couldn't listen. I worked with a guy who listened to Howard Stern all the time when I was a young boy, and I hated it. Him, what's the other old guy that called the joints nappy head bitches? Don Imus, right? So they had these New York City syndicated shows, and they basically could say whatever the hell they wanted, more or less. And their audience thought it was funny, because at that time, that kind of stuff was like, hey man, it's Howard Stern. He just say shit like that. Like, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. You get it. But like that crap now, see, that's on the opposite end. This bull dumb shit he would say, like right now, that's just not gonna fly, man.
Nah. Like,
shut your ass up, dude. You know what I mean? He would drop nigger in a minute on that show.
Right.
And I used to not like Robin laughing. Robin's laughing in the back, and I couldn't stand it. But I get it now on the opposite end of show business, and I get it. I was like, hey man, that's what was working. and they worked it into an empire.
Right.
So that's what was working. That's what the audience wanted. But sometimes on this other touchy stuff, I think it's a bunch of people who find it. They look for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're looking for it.
Like some people are just sitting there anxious for you to say something because they just love to be disturbed. Or
yes.
Love to be agitated.
Yes. They're like, oh, you hear that? See, that's the part of it that's corny.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're not listening to a humor. There's a lot of attack. My man, Shane Gillis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shane won the shit. My boy Brandon Jackson is a funny kid from here.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon's from here. And he's about to blow too on some shit because he's a young boy. And he's very funny. And, but Brandon came in second place and Shane Gillis came in first place at Helium's Philly's Funniest.
Okay.
So Shane got the call to come up to be a new member at SNL this year.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, congratulations and good luck with that, young brother.
But his shit came up. Shit from his podcast, some tweets, some crazy stuff. Right? Now, some of the stuff, they was going too far. But it was a podcast with his buddy and they joking, right? So it was a lesson in, you making jokes about Chinatown and saying words like, chink and stuff like that and making jokes, doing all of that, right? Yeah. Now, these days, it's not funny.
Mm-hmm. But back then, we laughed.
Well, now, they did it recently. That was like within the past year or so that podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't old. It was like within the past, 18 months, he had a couple things and somebody complained. Really, somebody screamed on him. And he basically gotten maybe jammed up one time at one of the comedy clubs in Philly where they was like, hey, yo, we don't like that. You ain't going to perform here again. He did a little bit of gay humor and stuff that it was like offensive. And it wasn't quote offensive. It was offensive. And that came back to haunt him. Yes, it did. But guess what? Here's the crazy thing. With the woke people, you also got these freedom of speech people.
Okay.
Who... freedom of speech is always that's one of America's
scapegoats.
The Bill of Rights. Those are the first 5 freedoms, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of petition. What else? Freedom of religion. We got these 5 freedoms, right? So people always fight about that. So because freedom of speech also comes with consequences. It comes with responsibility. So you can say some stuff. And just be like, man, I'm talking like sometimes you can't talk like you in the garage with your homies with certain shit. Right. You know what I mean? You got to watch it. Now, you can say whatever you want, yes, and especially in humor. But you got to watch it where, and I don't want to sound like a punk ass neither on it, but let's say you want to, let's say some woman jokes that men crack in men time, right? I mean, they might not be for the stage. They might be kind of just male pig ass jokes that the lady's gonna get pissed off, or people gonna be like, "Yo, man, wait a minute, that's not cool, dog." You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that. Sometimes it's not a thing about I say whatever I want. Sometimes it's like if my Uncle Larry laughed at it, I know it ain't for the stage. Right. My Uncle Larry's an ignorant motherfucker, so. That might not be for the masses.
At my job, I'm pretty much a smart ass and no filter type guy. And I've had a couple supervisors was like, yo, before you say something, just say to yourself, could I say this in front of the director and make him laugh? Or what would the director say if you said what you was about to say? And I started thinking that way because, me and Jarrell, we work together and Jarrell will tell you that sometimes my filter switch is just all fucked up. Like I'll just come right out and be like, say some off the chain thing that I'm thinking is funny, but
nah, the shit be funny. It just be disrespectful.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. You like listen. I would say this. What do you think HR would say?
Right.
he be like, fuck them too.
HR. Okay, hey Lindsay, we need to come down. We need to come downstairs.
Yeah, we had that happen a couple times. Definitely had that happen.
But yeah, I mean the workplace is a different animal altogether, though. You know what I'm saying? Don't mess with your money, man.
Right.
Don't mess with your money. But
have you ever had to curtail your jokes or cut some of your shit out? Like, nah, I can't go with that. This ain't
you know what, man? I just had a big discussion with somebody about that, right? And it's like, man, but listen, I do a lot of gigs, and I take on a lot of challenges. Challenges meaning I'll do some gigs sometimes other people might not do because they don't feel comfortable or they might not have the material for it per se, right? So the other day I did a gig at an old folks home. Well-paid gig. They wanted me to come entertain octogenarians, like people 75 and up, right? And I was like, oh, but y'all, you paying what? Yeah, just send me the contract, brother. Send me the contract, and I'll work it out up here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, when I did that gig, you know what I did? I reached back in the bag. I understood. Because I've done gigs where I've done like wedding reception. You want to talk about a hard-ass gig to do? Wedding reception. Nobody wants to see a fucking comic at a wedding reception.
Nah, they just want to get drunk and shake their ass.
They just want to get drunk and dance and have fun. But I had people say, man, you got to come do I'm going to give a surprise to my people. And let me tell you something about that. Surprise to your people. A lot of times, like you, brother, you sit there, you might be at your cousin's wedding, and at the wedding reception, they go, hey, I want to introduce you, my man Ty Break Jamison, comedian. And you got a lot of people that be like, especially black people, like, man, nobody want to see no mother comedian, man. And then there's moms and grandmoms and babies and stuff in there.
It's just a big eclectic mix.
Yeah, and it's like, what do I say to make all these folks laugh? So that's where you got to think. That's like I did the old folks home, and that's where it was. So I reached in the bag, and I was like, I'm going to talk about my family and growing up and my pops. You talk about your pops and your moms. You got plenty of funny stories about I got plenty of stories about my moms. This is all, like, it wasn't us in there neither. We talking about 80-year-old other folk.
That might not have been sharing a water fountain with us.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they come from them days. But I stood up there and I talked about, I teach school, so I talked about some of that. I talked about my family. I just reached in the heart and just said, listen, I'm going to just tell them some honesty stuff. And that's what you got to do. They have fun with it. I don't have to be offensive. I'd avoided my contract. If I'd have said cuss words and stuff, I would have avoided it. And that's not what it was. Listen, I wouldn't have cursed anyway. There's people like my grandmom and them. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I wouldn't have went into none of that material or acted on the edge of that. So you gotta understand that. Just like I'm doing Bethel, and like one of the jokes was even my daughter grandma. She was like, "Boy, I thought you was gonna say something crazy or cuss word." I said, "No, Miss Bernice, I'm good." Because a lot of my humor, I can just take the bad words out of it.
Right.
It's the topics that's funny. And that's where you got to be at with a lot of your stuff. You can just talk to people and come up with stuff. So it's not a thing about censoring yourself. It's about being like, okay, where am I at? I did a corporate. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Lindsay. I fill the books up. I just did a corporate gig at the experimental station.
Okay, DuPont.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, scientists and cats and engineers and all like that, and I just have fun with them. I'm telling real stories, real humor that I do already, and then I mix in when I'm messing with them. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a couple cats. I was like, I always like to talk to the audience, a little crowd work, and I asked the guy, I said, "What you do, man?" And he was like, "I'm a chemist." I was like, "Meth." All right, what you do, man? You know what I'm saying? So the lady, she was like, "I'm a chemist too." I said, "Oh, y'all gang." You know, I was doing like that. And I was like, boo. Hey, excuse me. I asked him what's his name. His name was like Jeff. I was like, boo, Jeff, Walter White is on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they got that, you know. So I say you got to be, have fun and just say, all right, am I going to do this? So that's all it is common sense, right?
Right.
You're not going to go to certain gigs and start doing. Now, the hardest gig I ever did was a room full of women. All grown women.
Wow.
That's like the hardest gig I ever did.
I can imagine.
Wow. And here's the other part of it. I was in the backyard. Okay. I didn't have no sound system. I was supposed to have a sound system, but I didn't have a sound system. And it was like I was selling insurance or something. Grown women, like older than me. And on top of that, I knew probably 75% of them. I did not know that. I'd have prepared a different way. I went in there and I was like, I got off a little bit of stuff, and then I was sort of, that's the last gig that I was shook at. I got off some stuff, and then I was kind of like, oh, shit, I'm losing my way here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know what I mean. I know her. Hey, you know, like, you can't kind of be your stage like crazy self. I could be my crazy self, but it just wasn't working. I wasn't on stage. I wasn't spotlight. I'm like in the middle of a freaking backyard. And I'm talking about, they was coming up. Somebody came up to me, was like, hey, Breakout, let me say, can you open this beer for me?
Like,
while you're on stage?
Damn, yeah. While I'm not on stage in the middle of the grass. Can you open this beer for me? I was like, oh, Lord, I'm losing. Fucking lost that game, Lindsay. Got my ass beat, you know, in a way. Now, having said that, by the end of my set, I realized that they wasn't necessarily into me. Because I'm doing my thing, but behind me, right, was his brother. So there's like steps going into the backyard. So the house is here. And you come down steps, and then you're in the backyard, right? So on the steps behind me was a brother back there, right? It was a brother chilling on the steps, tall brother, brown skin brother. Boom. Nigga, he had his shirt. His shirt was like this. He had a cowboy hat on. Tight ass, like, jeggings. And I was like, oh, man, I'm losing. I'm like, the ladies were talking amongst themselves. I was like, man, fuck that. I paid. Damn. His customers not going to be very happy. And I knew her. But I was like, and she was like, just say something. Why you say something? I was like, she was like, just say something. And I said, right? Then I did like one of these, and I looked, I said, oh, y'all motherfuckers don't want to see me, man. I'm going to let the show ride out and let the brother do his thing. Because he was a stripper. So he was there to, you know, have some fun. So I'm like, man, them ladies didn't give a damn about what I was talking about, man. You know what I mean? Because first of all, there's like, oh, man, that's my nephew. That's my friend. I know him, man. He ain't going to make me laugh like that. We got to be having like a candid conversation. Now, I learned from that, though. Next time I'm in there, I'm just going to have a candid conversation. But I didn't want to joke on them. You know what I mean? I couldn't do my usual thing. Because I know them ladies.
Right.
So I didn't want to, like, fuck with them. It wasn't that type of gig, like the mood. So I just let it ride, and I took that as an L. But, you know, that was in the middle of the summer, though. On the comedy, I'm going to tell you something, on the comedy calendar, the summer, that's the low. That's when the work slows down a little bit. Right? In the dead summer, like July, the work slows down. Everybody's on vacation, unless you're working at the comedy clubs. That's it. The one-nighters and some of those gigs, the weekly, during the week gigs and stuff, they not there. Because people just they doing summer shit. You know what I mean? August, it picks back up. August, September, October, it starts going like this. Bam, bam, bam. You know what I mean? So, but that particular thing, hey, real talk, I needed that bread. So Lindsay, we work.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Shoot. Sometimes you just can't turn that money down, but like, you know what? I'm there. Fuck it. Without fail, I'm there.
Yeah. So, you know, but it was a great experience, and I love them folks. But it was a great experience. So, you know, I just take it to the stage now and talk about it.
Shoot, because I mean, it made good conversation now. Cause I'm sitting there like, damn, I probably would have choked with that shit. Like, whatever, fuck it. Somebody give me a hot dog and a beer.
Yeah. I took a shot. My boy was there taking pictures. Ivan.
Yeah.
And Ivan was he said, "Yo, you's a brave motherfucker, boy." And look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you some punk ass shit I did though. I faded out. Once the stripper started doing his thing, I faded out. I didn't even say bye to nobody. I was like, I did a little phantom.
Kind of like that.
I took a shot.
Kind of like that meme where Homer Simpson just dips
Yeah. I just faded out. Boom. Because it was dark then. I was like, let me get the fuck out of here, man. But that was cool.
You know, what's the furthest you did comedy from Delaware? 'Cause I know you've been here long enough to say I'm a Delawarean. 'Cause I know you wasn't born here, were you?
Yes.
You were born here?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I thought you was born like in New York or something like that.
You know, I just got that flavor, brother.
Yeah, you do.
Nah. But my peoples live in New York. My peoples live in North Carolina.
Okay.
And so, you know, I was in heavy rotation as growing up. But the furthest, I mean, of course, Los Angeles is about the furthest I've been. You don't make no money in L.A. You don't make no money.
LA is just making you bones.
Yes, L.A. is so many probably comics per capita that, you know, outside of L.A., you make money. There's Bakersfield and all these towns and stuff like that, so you get booked and stuff like that. But within L.A., it's just all working the mic, and you maybe somebody might book you or something like that. And then out of the country, I'm going to say I did jokes in the islands, but Toronto was probably the best time I ever had as far as on a trip. I was there for 10 days.
Oh, man.
And they got a comedy club up there in the scene called Yuck Yucks. And they're all over Canada. And but it was a big festival and different stuff going on. They had comedy at a couple different places. And I had a great time up there. That's a fantastic town. So I tell anybody, you want to go visit somewhere and have a good time, Toronto is a great place to go. Very eclectic, very different cultures. They cool with everything. You know, that's where all the Canadian like stars come from. Is basically like Toronto. It's like a little mini New York, mini Chicago.
Okay.
And it's real cool, man. Real cool atmosphere. The people super friendly, man. They crazy friendly, and you could rock with everybody. Like, you know what blew my mind, man? I seen like a black dude with like a Pakistani chick.
Oh wow, cause they don't usually fuck with us.
No, man, they don't do that. But up there, the energy's a little different. You know what I'm saying? They got like a really melting pot type of thing going on up there. And you know the Caribbean scene, all the people from the islands. There's a lot of folk from the islands and Africa and stuff up there. You know what I mean? You're like, wow, cold ass climate. But I have to read up on why it's like that. But a lot of people are up there, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I know when I was in London, I seen a lot of that. Like, I had more Pakistani people speaking to me, and I'm like, yo, back home, y'all don't fuck with us like that. But the one girl was telling me, was like, you know, they were classified as second-class citizens there. Like how we look at, you know, some of the Mexicans. That's how they were getting looked at there. So they don't mind showing love to anybody that speaks and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, because back home, you my dentist, you know?
Right.
Yeah, you my doctor.
Right.
You know?
See, they come in here on more of a higher level. When you make it here, a lot of times, I mean, some Pakistani person could call and say, nah, bro. We immigrate. We ran from some tragedy and got over here. So I know quite a few folks are like that too. But then there's some folks who get over here they come in on the high end. They just leaving from over there and they say, I'm coming over here.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So, you know, it's a thing. But like up there, I know what you're saying. You know, everybody was in the same sort of struggle. Right. So all the ethnicities or minorities have respect for each other in that way. Right. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, hey, we all in the same bag, really.
Which we really need to have that here.
We really do.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, the table was set a different way here. Right. You know what I'm saying?
But I would say with the current climate and with all the shit that's going on in Washington and stuff, I really see changes coming. I think we had to fall to our lowest to get to where we need to be.
You know, brother, I'm gonna agree with you on that.
Cause like, you know, we were all shook when Trump won, but we needed racism and everything to be exposed on these deeper levels, because people, you know, like before him, it's like, oh yeah, we got a black guy in office and everything. You know, we got a couple people that's racist, but it's not that bad. But when shit start coming out the woodworks where you can't really talk politics because the dude you sat next to that listen to hip hop with you loves Trump, and you be like, yo, what the fuck, you know? So
and you can't figure it out.
Yeah, so that ugliness of America needed to be exposed, and I think we have no choice but to go up, because, you know, you think about everything Obama had to become president. All Trump had to do was be white and rich.
Very true. That's all he had to become.
Because when you put them side by side, if you were to
no comparison.
Yeah, if you was to run off their bios without saying their name, like he has multiple children by multiple women, he's an adulterer, this and this, people would immediately think black guy,
rich black guy or something. You like, oh, what is this motherfucker?
But then you talk Ivy League, you know, top of his class, lawyer, this and that, you were like, white guy. But it was just vice versa.
Vice versa, man. Well, you know, one of the biggest fear factors in this country is like a dude like Obama. He scared the hell out of these motherfuckers, man. He scared them. I mean, you got controversy. It's so deep that you got controversies out here. Like Obama's the leader of the resistance. For real, they think like he's underground, like the commander of when some shit flip. He's like the leader when the shit flips. You know what I'm saying? That's how scared motherfuckers are. They like, oh, this motherfucker's super intelligent. I mean, remember when this kid that worked savoir-faire? He's got so much savoir-faire, so relaxed.
Right.
I know the rumor was always that Putin didn't like him because he beat Putin in chess 3 times. I don't know how true that is. I tried to look it up. I never found it.
Right.
But I know that, you know, he wasn't not afraid. His casual shit. But you know the dopest shit I found?
What?
Was on, when it comes to Obama, right? Was the photographer. You ever check that dude out?
Yeah. I follow some of his work. The one that, his White House photographer.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I watched a thing on him on CBS Sunday Morning, which is one of my favorite shows. That's how I know I'm getting old. Because look, CBS Sunday Morning, man, I have to watch that with some coffee. Hey, babe, sit down, babe. The show's it. She's like, is it on? It's on. Come on, babe, sit down. We got our coffee and we watch. Yo, man, they do some brilliant their pieces, man. That's an entertaining 90 minutes, brother. You learn so much watching that show because they go to every week is unexpected, like who they go visit and sit with. So they did a piece with him, with the photographer, and man, his story and the way he followed Obama, because his thing was always a shadow. He said, I just shadow him. I never was like, hey, let's take a picture. He was like, I just shadow and I take pictures. And he said the pure honesty of all his pictures was what was real. You know, he took that picture, the most tweeted picture ever, with him and the orphans. When Obama was talking to them, all the orphans were all different flavors in that window. And all his joints was like that. It was a great story, man. And it was so good. My girl got the book for me. I didn't even want it. That was a surprise Christmas gift.
Okay.
So she got me that book, and I was like, "What's this?" She was like, "I got you a book." And I opened it up, and I was like, "Oh, damn!" And them pictures are awesome, and you can see the purity in it, man. When you look at it, it's just real pure. There's nothing fake me out in it. No posing. You know, like look, just last week,
right,
when they showed the war room, right?
Trump's war room.
Trump's war room. Him and his dudes is like this. They done posed up. But the Obama war room, them niggas was all into it. They was like, everybody was in the room watching the action. Like, it was real. It was like, that's why he said he always just shadowed everything. He never did set up pictures.
Yeah, because that's the one where Obama had on some just regular khakis and the jacket, and he's sitting there chilling, no tie, no nothing. He's like,
yep. He's like,
into that
this
shit.
Shit's happening.
Yeah.
And that's how my man said, he was like, I don't know if he did any that were setups. He was like, I let the other photographers do the little setup pictures. I just shadowed the family. I shadowed everything. I went with them everywhere. And boom. I was like, man, that's a great gig right there, bro.
Yeah.
That's a dope gig.
But yo, man, the thing I love about doing this podcast and talking to homies from back in the day is that it's not an interview. It's just we just catching up and stuff like that, man. And boy, Break, you know, open my eyes or something. I mean, both you and Nitty, man, y'all cats have me like this, but you know, to people that's watching this and to you as well, if you got something going on, you could just send it to info@BOREDinDE.com, and I ain't got no problem putting it on the site. You know, the traffic from the site starting to build, and then with me dropping these podcasts every week, you know, we're on iTunes, Google Play, we're also on Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, Stitcher. So anywhere podcast is played, you can see us, and then we also got our YouTube channel, so you can catch us on there and everything like that. But before we wrap up, I need you just to go over one more time where they can find information about Break Jamison.
Oh, man, you can just go to my social media, man. That's all. My website ain't up right now because I ain't pay these motherfuckers. But look, you can go to Ty Break Jamison on Facebook, man, all day long. Mr. Break 26 on IG. And Break Jamison on Twitter. Okay. And I'm sorry, I got a couple Twitters, but go to the Ty Break, and that one's cool. Okay. And so that's all it is, and just hit me up or whatever it is, and man, hey Lindsay, man, it's a pleasure Come on, brother.
Yeah. And you know what? I told my girl, I said, you know what? I'm doing this podcast, but I need to start being back out. I need to hit them pavements and stuff. So I need to start, looking to see what's going on and planning my schedule around it instead of be like, well, damn, I didn't book the photo session or I'm working or something like that. So I'm definitely going to hit one of your next shows. I told Nitty, I'm definitely going to, come out and stuff like that. And there's other cats that's doing stuff. And I just want my face start to be,
Hey man, I love you. Come out, man. Snap a couple flicks, man. We never got to the headshots, man.
But we'll get to
it. Yeah. But man, brother, I know you 1,000 years, man. So it's just a pleasure. You say, hey, come on out, man. Once you hang out with the podcast, I'm with it 100%. So I'm here. Yeah, and I really had a great time here.
Yeah, because when I reached out to you, you was like, oh man, what, you tell me where and when. I'm like, yo, that's what's up.
Damn right, brother. We could talk. My mom always said you talk too much. That's what she thought. She said, I'm happy you on stage doing that shit.
I mean, she raised you. So you talk too much. You got more than that.
She was like, you just talk. How you be in church and get plucked for shit like that? But you gave me candy. That was always my thing. Mom, y'all giving people candy.
In church.
Yeah. What do you think gonna happen?
So I'm bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, man. Me and my cousin, we used to get plucked. Keep still. Now your feet going like this. When you little, you just like this. My own kids, you got your kids, man.
Yep.
Your own kids get on your nerves. Keep still, man. Your feet still. You like this. Them niggas hyped up. But yeah, man. Thank you, Liz.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure. And everybody, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. Once again, if you haven't already, subscribe, follow. Definitely go to the site www.BOREDinDE. We got a mailing list there. Join the mailing list so you can be notified when we drop new episodes and notified about our guests. And as always, when this goes up on the site, I'll have all his links and everything there. So if you a little slow or can't spell, I'll have those links. You can click on it and check out Ty and see what's going on with him and shit. Breakout. Man, I love you, brother.
Yes, sir. Love you too, man.
Thank you for coming out. Everybody, this is Big Tuck signing off. Peace.